Master Duel has a lot of cards Konami has deemed too powerful for the TCG. On this series, we will be taking a look at the banned cards in Master Duel and determining if they deserve the ban or are simply overhated. Hello guys, and welcome back to another cold episode. On today's episode, we are taking a look at Galaxy Tomahawk, a card that is surprising how few people are actually playing this card, and just genuinely how little this card has done within the lifespan of Yu-Gi-Oh! Master Duel. If you don't know, Galaxy Tomahawk is an insane card that reads, once per turn, detach 2 materials to special summon as many tokens as possible. Meaning, basically, with this card, you can generate 6 material worth of cards. 5 tokens that you summon off of this in the extra monster zone, and then this card itself. And the thing is, that is genuinely insane. Just the sheer number of cards that you can generate off of this one card is quite a lot, right? And yet it has been legal the entire time within Yu-Gi-Oh! Master Duel and has yet to actually do anything. It's not really ever been part of a meta deck. It's never really been that meta relevant. And why is that? Well, the number one answer is Maxi. This card is terrible into Maxi. You basically can't do anything, right? That's kind of it. Everything else does lean to it being a very powerful card, but as hand traps get more and more powerful, maybe it's worse. So I decided to see, is this card actually ban-worthy? Because it's currently banned in the TCG. Is it something that should exist? And can we break it? So here is the list. We're playing a 45 card list with Dragon Rulers. Here's the thing with Dragon Rulers. Dragon Rulers do 2 things for our deck. First and foremost, they put 2 7s onto the field very easily, which gives us access to our big Galaxy Tomahawk play, and the other thing is that they set up lines for Nemesis Corridor, making it easier for us to banish cards to gain access to Colossus in tandem with the rest of what we are doing. So that is the general gist of what we aim to do. Go for the Galaxy Tomahawk line, make a huge bunch of guys, which I'll show you the combo, and then utilize the Dragon Rulers as follow-up. We have a few Dragon Rulers in here. We're playing 2 Eclipse as well as 2 Chasm in the extra deck, as well as a myriad of Dragon Rulers, 3 apiece of the Tempest as well as Tidal. These are just the best ones with the hand effects, and then we're also playing 2 apiece of Blaster and Redox. Both of these are solid, and we do need at least 2 apiece of those for the Baby Rulers. Speaking of which, we're playing 2 apiece of each of the Baby Rulers. 2 Burner, 2 Lightning, 2 Steam, and 2 Reactin, and then 3 Spectral, because this one just discards a card and a Dragon or Light monster, which is significantly easier in order to add 2 Dragon Rulers, which is also very nice. And then we also are playing 1 Nebulous. This card comes up occasionally. It also has 600 defense, which means you can search it off of Cupid Pitch, which we'll get into later. And that is it for the Dragon Rulers. We're also playing a few other additional 7s. We're playing Ascendant of Thunder. Originally, I was playing Triple Tack, but that card just wasn't very useful. Mostly due to the fact that if my opponent... Well, okay, I wasn't playing against a lot of opponents who were hand-trapping me, so it just ended up not being useful. So instead, I elected to play another 7 so that we had more access to our combo. And then we also are playing Fenris as well as Unicorn for a Kashtira package, alongside the 1 Birth. Birth actually came up a couple of times, just being able to like normal summon a level 7 is also very nice. As for the rest of the cards in here, they are either hand traps / non-engine, or they are bricks, basically. Part of the combo line. We're playing the Yang Zing, so we're playing 2 Chi-Wen and a Bion, as well as the counter trap of 9 Pillars of the Yang Zing for a Danglong line. We are also utilizing things like the Nemesis Corridor, as previously mentioned, as well as the O-Lion, which is our target for Auroradon, which also is banned in the TCG. So you're kind of getting a 2-for-1 this episode. However, Auroradon, I feel like, is less broken, and it's mostly just going to be tacked on to this one. But yeah, there you go. As for the extra deck, as previously mentioned, we have Colossus and Cupid Pitch. We're also playing Danglong as well as Chaofeng. Chaofeng, notably, with the Danglong, allows us to lock our opponent out of light monsters. So, yeah, no Fiendsmith or anything of that nature, as well as no Nibiru. However, we do get Nibiru... We don't get Nibiru proof until, like, we're done with the combo, so... But, yeah, I don't know. Maybe they hold their Nibiru and then die to Chaofeng. We also have the Excel Stardust in here for the Baron. Here's the thing. We technically have a few flex spots. That being, you can go for the Excel alongside Baron, which, by the way, this card's also banned in the TCG. So, it's a 3-for-1 special. Hope you like that. You could do the Excel Stardust into Baron, or you could also instead cut both of these cards and play Borreload Savage Dragon. The reason I'm not playing Borreload Savage Dragon, another card that's banned, is simply because Baron is a better negate. It's the same reason we're not playing a whole bunch of other cards. Baron is by far one of the best negates in the game. First and foremost, it's just a generic negate anything. Your opponent does a thing, no, they don't do the thing. It's fantastic for that purpose. On top of that, it puts itself back, which is actually very useful in this deck because we go through a lot of our extra deck, but being able to resummon this is actually not that difficult. There's a lot of ways for us to do that with things like the Xiaofeng, with Danglong, with the level 7s, and like a level 3 tuner. There's a bunch of different ways that we can get back into a Baron. It's not hard to summon it multiple times. On top of that, it's also destruction, meaning that we can clear a board our opponent attempts to set up easily, which is very nice. So all of these in tandem work really well, so that's why we were playing it the Baron. Yeah, we just use the Excel alongside the O-Lion to bring it back. And then we are also playing the Masquerena and Auroradon, and that is all of our combo pieces. The Auroradon gets us the O-Lion, which is part of the tuners, as well as the ability to make a whole bunch of tokens. So that's very nice. As for the rest of the cards, it's just Zeus and SP Little Knight, which are targets for IP Masquerena with the SP, and then targets for our Xyz. And that's it. Let's hop into the replays and show you how this deck performed. Alrighty, so here we are going first, and this hand technically does it. We do have a brick in our hand, but I'm going to show you how to kind of play around that. First and foremost, we're going to start off here with the Unicorn. My opponent is going to Ash Blossom that. That's actually a fairly reasonable Ash Blossom, but that does mean we get to look at the extra deck, and what we find is very surprising. It's Duel, and yeah, we're obviously taking this one. This one is the... You use it with super polymerization, and you just can clear an entire field, so we're gonna kind of cut that off. They only had it as a 1-up. Then we just go for the Dragon Ruler play, and out comes another 7, out into the Galaxy Tomahawk. Galaxy Tomahawk effect is going to activate, and it resolves. Fantastic. So we're going to summon a whole bunch of tokens here, and the combo is actually not all that long. Yeah, genuinely. So first and foremost, we go for the IP Masquerena, then we make a Auroradon. Auroradon effect is going to go into the O-Lion, O-Lion into the Danglong, and then Danglong effect add and grab back the token. Now, when I say this combo is not that long, I will state it's not that long in comparison to what can be done currently in Yu-Gi-Oh! It is a long combo, but it's not a complex one, so it's not something that takes like a bunch of different combo lines and takes time. You just kind of do the line and then you're done. So oftentimes it only took me like 30 seconds to complete. Not 30, 50 seconds to complete. It really was fairly quick. We're gonna go for the Cupid pitch now because I actually normally would go for Xiaofeng here, but because we have the Beyond in hand, we can't send it to the graveyard to modulate into a 3, so we send the Chiwen, which is the level 1 tuner Yangzing, in order to go into our Cupid pitch here instead. Normally we would go with the level 6 token to go for the level 3 and level 6 to make a Xiaofeng, and then our opponent would be locked out of lights, and we would then summon the level 1 from our deck. This is also why we're playing 2 of this, so that if we do happen to draw any one of our other bricks, we can just still go into our combo. So that's the general idea here. This allows us to go for the Excel here to bring back a second Chiwen, and then link off into, or synchro off into the Xiaofeng anyway, still doing the same light lock, and then into the Baron. Now we can go for our 2 monsters into our, now we can go for our Dragon Ruler into another Dragon Ruler, and here we can grab the Nemesis Corridor, putting back the Stardust, and then going into the Colossus. If we had another Dragon Ruler, we would have the ability to, actually, had I just banished more correctly, we would then also have a rank 7 here, and we would go into Eclipse. Eclipse here gives us the ability to reborn another Dragon Ruler, and gives us another spell Trap Negate, which is very, very useful. So we basically end on a very powerful board. And this is the idea behind this card. Instead of specifically just having the biggest, bestest, baddest board we could par up. I am having a stroke, help. Instead of having the biggest board we could possibly have, I'm instead trying to do the most that we can without fully committing like everything to our main deck, right? I'm fine with playing additional cards to kind of cut down on the amount of bricks that we see. But for the most part, it's just kind of like, oh, here's Dragon Ruler with Galaxy Tomahawk, and now we end on this insane end board, and we have the Dragon Rulers as follow-up. So that's kind of the idea here. They go for the 1-for-1. I don't want them to get a guy onto their field. I specifically don't want them to have Samsara D, but I see them pitch Samsara D, so I don't know what this is. This is just a mistake on my part. It doesn't really matter. We're just going to banish it with the SP Little Knight, and at this point, the game is pretty much over. I mean, they can't search. They don't have light monsters. We've already used Baron. We can activate the counter trap. I mean, what else could they do there, right? So they surrender, and the game is alrighty. Now, what do we do going second? And this is where the Dragon Rulers shine, right? Obviously, we did draw Maxi here, but I'm not going to lie, it doesn't help us here. But notably, the Dragon Rulers are very helpful in being able to kind of do an additional thing other than just that combo, right? We're not just doing this balls to the walls combo. We actually do have a game plan, right? And that's where I think the Dragon Rulers and the Kashtiras kind of help in that regard, giving you an ability to actually play the game into established endboards. However, my opponent reveals that they are on Paleo, so there's that. Here we go for the Chasm here, and notably this is a quick effect that sends for cost and then detaches a monster, which is very good for our deck here. They're going to go for the Lost Wind. I'm going to chain the Maxi to prevent them from getting the Paleo onto the field. I'm just like, no, I don't want the Paleo, and if it does hit the field, I want to be able to draw a card off of that. We're going to go for the title here. We're going to banish 2 in order to summon out the title, which notably we banished a Redox, so we're going to grab to our hand the Reactin. Now we can go for the Reactin. We can make another 7 here, which is pretty advantageous for us, because we have that Spell Trap Negate in Eclipse. This is also when I was playing 1 Eclipse, I inevitably changed it to adding an additional Eclipse instead of Big Eye. Big Eye never came up. So there's that. They're going to go for the Dimensional Barrier here. I'm promptly going to negate that because they called it Xyz. We kind of want Xyz, so yeah, we negate that. To be fair, we could have let it resolve and then just link off into like SP Little Knight or something, but I felt like that was pretty bad. Anyway, we go for the Redox here and shuffle back the card off of the initial effect of the Eclipse, which, yeah, does have the ability to reborn there. We do have the Blaster still in grave that we haven't used, so out comes Blaster, and they're going to go for the Trap Trick. Now, this is a bit of an issue, right? Obviously, they go for the Threatening Roar. Oh, just kidding. It's not an issue. Yeah, the thing is, if they go for a Destructive Daruma Karma Cannon, I just lose, right? They just, like, book everything, and I can't really do anything. But they didn't. So, yeah, now I get to just link off into IP Masquerena, and then, hey, look, I have 2 7s on the field. Yeah, we just make Galaxy Tomahawk here. I'm going to activate the effect of the Galaxy Tomahawk, and we're going to make 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5 tokens. And then I'm going to make a Roarodon, and realize I don't have the ability to summon tokens, because it specifically summons 3, and I only had 2 zones. Oops. That's fine. We can still tribute to make the O-Lion, and then go into the Excel, which then gives us access to Baron, which is, again, still pretty decent, all things considered. Except for the fact that I don't do that, because... Oh, wait, I can make Dinglong. Yeah, Dinglong is actually arguably better here because we get to make the Chao Fang here. And now we have the counter trap. Though, to be fair, I do actually think that just going Baron would have been better. We go Baron, we pop a card, and then we have a negate. That's, like, pretty good, right? However, the reason I don't think that we do end up doing that is because I still have SP. We can still just make SP here. So yeah, SP, banish the card, and then set a card and pass the turn. They still have access to the rollback. Maybe I should have banished the rollback, but they could have just chained in response, so it's not that big of a deal. For some reason, I don't Ash this. There's literally nothing else in the deck to Ash. I don't know why I don't just Ash the Foolish Burial Goods. So, oops on my part. Yeah, they send to the graveyard, of course, Elemental Burst. But Elemental Burst actually isn't all that powerful here. I'm not gonna lie. It's kind of mid. We do draw a fairly decent card here in the Spectral, so there's that. We're gonna go for Tempest here, and we're gonna banish 2 of our Dragon Rulers, which are gonna search out 2 of our cards. And now we get to go for our Spectral, which grabs up 2 additional more of our baby dragons. Now we get to go for our Dark Nebulous Dragon, which grabs up 2 additional Dragon Rulers. Out comes Chasm number 2. We're going to activate the effect. This is another instance where having that additional Eclipse would have been very useful. If they activate this set card, we just banish it, negate it. No. And then if they activate the back row, we're not too concerned. Here we grab another Spectral and then just proceed to combat. Of course, this forces out the interaction from the opponent, and I'm going to tag out 2 of my guys, just the largest of them, and then my entire field goes away, but notably all of them trigger. So we're going to get a whole bunch of triggers here. We're going to grab the Ghost Bell, we're going to summon the 2 Chiwens, and then we are going to activate our Redox, which we hadn't yet used, normal summon that Ash Blossom that I elected not to use, and make Baron. Out comes the Lost Wind, which we knew about. I'm going to negate it. For some reason, it goes to Grave. Should be banished, but okay. And out comes the 2 monsters off of the SP Little Knight. SP Little Knight doesn't die there because of IP. So, there's that. I reborn a level 3 monster for no particular reason. My opponent goes for the Typhon here, and at this point, the game is pretty much over. There's not a whole lot that they can do here. Even with that set card, I'm not too concerned. They put back the Chasm, and I'm like, that's fine. Back comes the Tempest, but our graveyard is full of Dragon Rulers. We're off to the races here. First and foremost, we're actually going to banish a light monster in tandem with our Spectral to grab up our Chasm. Now, notably, they did have Fiend Griefing, which was actually pretty good, except for the fact that we had the Ghost Spell, which we searched. Yeah, we searched it off of Xiaofeng. That's one of the advantages to doing this line, is that we also get to search a hand trap if we use the counter trap, which is very nice. So, there's that. We still go for the Cupid Pitch here because it's funny. And then we summon out another guy, and we summon out another guy, and the big conga line of assholes is complete. Yeah, we just go to combat here and walk into the field. We resummoned Baron there as well, so cool game. Alrighty, one more time, and yeah, this is just going to showcase what we do off of 2 guys. So out comes Ascendant of Thunder and Ascendant of Thunder into Galaxy Tomahawk, and off to the races we go. Hip hip hooray. So out comes all of our guys into IP Masquerena, into Auroradon. I just want to show you the combo again. Though I do believe I mess up this combo again, so that's kind of funny. But overall, it still works. Out comes the Danglong. Danglong effect is going to activate. We're going to activate the O-Line, grab the additional token, grab the counter trap, and then we activate the Danglong, send it to Beyond, and now we get to go for the Xiaofeng. Xiaofeng effect, or sorry, summon the level 1 from the Danglong in order to go into the Cupid Pitch, increase its level, go into the Stardust Excel, and activate the Stardust Excel. Oh, I didn't mess up this combo. Never mind. Burn them, grab the Corridor, go into the Baron, and then we get to go for our Blaster. Out comes Blaster. We're going to banish 2 dragons. Notably, this is also a benefit for the Stardust Excel, is that it is a dragon. Also, it's a wind. But most notably, it is a dragon, which means that any of your dragon rulers can banish it to special summon themselves, which is great. So now out comes the Eclipse. Effect of the Eclipse. No effect of the Eclipse here. The reason being is because we want the zone clear. I actually don't know why we did that. Oh, that's why. We literally did not have a target for it. We only play the 2 blasters, and the only other target is the burner in the grave, or in the banish zone, so we actually couldn't summon there. So, there you go. My opponent goes for the Maxi, that's fine. They're going to go for the core here into Clockwork Knight. Yeah, they can't search, so they just don't do anything. And then they activate Clockwork Knight. Here's the thing. If I were stupid, I would let this resolve. Why did I let this resolve? This is just straight up a dumb mistake. Just negate that. The thing is, had they done this correctly, they could have gone, activate Clockwork Knight, see if I negate it. Realistically, I absolutely positively should. If I don't, I'm stupid, right? Activate the Clockwork Knight, normal summon the core. Core is then called Cyber Dragon, and then they just link away the entire field. I didn't do that, because I'm stupid. So it's fine. Anyway, regardless, doesn't matter. We ended up winning there. But yeah, that's generally what the combo is aimed to do. And then you have all of those additional points of interaction. They can't use light monsters. They can't use the, or they can't search anything off of this effect. You have the negate of Baron, you have the counter trap negate, you have the negate of the rank 7, and you have the IP Masquerena. And oftentimes you can also put an additional guy onto your field to use for the IP Masquerena to go into SP Little Knight. Alright, and we are back, and honestly, let's talk about Galaxy Tomahawk. Here's the thing, this card is really, really powerful. It is still, to this day, banned in the TCG. Should it remain banned in the TCG? Let's talk about that part first. Yes. Here's why. Unlike OCG and Master Duel, the TCG has access to 3 Fenris and 3 Unicorn for the Kashtira engine, meaning you can play it very, very easily alongside a very powerful Kashtira package to generate even stronger end boards for whatever else you were doing without any real restrictions, right? You just get to do your thing with the Galaxy Tomahawk and with the Kashtira cards. And because of how powerful the Kashtira cards are, both at going first and going second, it is just a strict upgrade than what we have in Master Duel and in the TCG, or in the OCG. In the OCG, genuinely, they have like 0 Kashtira card. I think they have like 1 unicorn. So that's significantly easier. It's significantly easier to deal with, I should say. So, with that being said, is this card ban-worthy, or is it broken in Master Duel? And the thing is, that's kind of 2 separate answers, right? Is it broken? No, not necessarily, right? A lot of decks have the ability to make similar, if not more powerful end boards. Look at Mitsu, look at Yummy, look at... what's a good example? Actually, a myriad of other decks, right? A lot of, like, canine decks have the ability to do some heinous crimes. You can do, like Artmage puts up a really phenomenal end board as well. That's the other, like, canine deck that I was thinking of. So a lot of decks have extremely powerful end boards right now, right? So Galaxy Tomahawk needing to play a whole bunch of bricks in order to make it useful maybe isn't great. To be fair, I do think that there's a bunch more that you could do with this in regards to a bunch of other decks, right? So there's that as well, right? Not a bunch of other, but in rank 7 decks, right? I think in Dragon Ruler, it helps Dragon Ruler actually establish a board. Instead of doing the Tenpai stuff and trying to go second with the Tenpai shenanigans, you're instead electing to go first and just make a strong end board. And I think the Galaxy Tomahawk does help with that significantly. However, is this card fun? The answer is no. Most of the time, when you see Galaxy Tomahawk, it just kind of wins the game. Or, at the very least, is a very all-or-nothing boring card. Basically, what happens is you make Galaxy Tomahawk, and then you go activate effect, response. If the opponent has something, either after all of the tokens are summoned, like they Nibiru you, or at point of activation, like Imperm or Veiler, you just kind of stop. There's nothing else that you can do, because it's kind of hard to continue playing after making a rank 7. So there's not a ton that you can do, which means that your turn kind of ends, and the opponent basically just had to use 1 hand trap on you to end your turn. Not very fun. From the opponent's perspective as well, if you do resolve it, you get to do a whole wild, wacky combo that ends on a basically unbreakable board full of really unfun points of interaction, right? Things like the Chowfang and the Colossus locking you down, preventing you from activating cards. Things like the Baron and the Counter Trap, allowing you to, if you do have a card that can activate, actually, no, you don't, because now it hasn't activated, because I've said no to it, right? And there's a bunch of things like that that are very frustrating to deal with when it comes to Galaxy Tomahawk. So overall, I don't really see this card as a worthwhile addition to Master Duel. It, most of the time, is just an unfun card. Sure, doing the combo is fine. It's not necessarily an interesting combo, and yeah, there's experimentation to be had with Galaxy Tomahawk, but for the most part, it's pretty boring. If you get Maxed or Fua Lost, it kind of sucks. If you get Impermed, it's kind of terrible, right? And it doesn't really provide a whole lot of interesting games. Is it ban-worthy in terms of power? No. Is it ban-worthy in terms of fun? Absolutely. So, all in all, I think it should be banned. I think it doesn't really have a good spot within Yu-Gi-Oh! Master Duel. However, I understand not banning it, and for the most part, I don't think it needs to be banned right away. I don't think it's like a must-ban issue. You gotta deal with it. However, similar to that of like Block Dragon's existence, with this card being unbanned, rank 7 strategies basically can't be good. Because as soon as you have the ability to make a very easy rank 7, you just make Galaxy Tomahawk and you do a heinous crime, right? So, those are my thoughts. Thank you guys so much for watching. Let me know down below in the comments if you agree, if you disagree. What are your thoughts overall on Galaxy Tomahawk? And as well, Auroradon. What are your thoughts on Auroradon? I didn't really talk much about this one. I just don't think it's as interesting. Yeah, summoning a bunch of tokens but locking you out of links is not that big of a deal, right? And, oh, wow, you get to summon a tuner. Hip hip hooray. The only reason this card even was banned in the TCG and is banned in the TCG was because of Hulk. Let's be honest. Without Hulk, it's fine. Even with Galaxy Tomahawk, I think it's fine. So, there you go. That's going to be it. Thank you guys so much for watching, and remember to always stay frosty. Bye-bye.